Hello, I'm Kathleen Lucy, Westminster Guide, and
I'm Charlie Foreman. Hello.
we're here just to talk a little bit about what's been going on at the association from our end, and with a view to the meeting on the 2nd of December. So this is not a long video. So Charlie, before we start, can you just say a few words about yourself, maybe a bit about your background as well?
Hi. Yeah, I've been with the association about 10 years, 3 of them on the committee, and since then I've continued to contribute and staying fairly close with the committee members. Before that, I worked for the council in Hackney as their chief officer for the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games, trying to get long-term benefit for local communities. And that involved working with people who are normally excluded, but also with an extremely wide range of interest groups with different expectations, and trying to draw them together into some shared objectives, which would lead to longer term benefits. And in many of those cases, I think there's something to show for it.
Absolutely, definitely a success. So fair to say you've been in a high profile leadership role, dealing with contentious issues and working in a collaborative and inclusive way, yeah? So why did you get involved with the EGM2024 group?
Well, to begin with, I didn't. I was bemused by the decision in June to end the relationship with the course. Not least because I felt there had just been a great success in bringing the two back together. The committee had been allowed to appoint their own examiner for the 2024 course, who was able to report back to the committee rather than the course director on standards. And the result was a great success, where all examiners agreed unanimously on the outcomes for all the students. So 5 weeks later, you suddenly get this announcement that there's been an irretrievable breakdown. Well, I believed that these very grounded committee members would see the value in having some kind of discussion, mediation, negotiation to bring the two sides together. But I was rebuffed several times, and in the end I thought that the EGM group were the people who were really trying to get some kind of inclusive solution to what is becoming an intractable problem and dividing the organisation.
So it's fair to say that, so going back to the motion, what is that about?
Well, I think that the constitution of our organisation is no longer fit for purpose. What we now have to do is to accredit our own course, to tender it, to establish the content of it, and to work out how to evaluate it. These are all really big issues that I think we need to share together. And our motion is setting out a way of doing that for the future. We've been presented as simply trying to support the current course director indefinitely. Absolutely not the case. We recognise the need for something new. We're just saying that for the time being, the course should continue to run until we've got a new framework set up within which the current course director can compete for future work.
And it's fair to say there's precedent for this.
I think it's worth looking back at where the association has achieved some successes. I was on the committee when we were correctly under pressure from members to put up a decent website. And to do that, we did involve as many people as possible from across the organisation, bringing their ideas in and using their talents to make a website which has, through time, I think it continues to improve. So yes, this wouldn't be the first time where we all need to work together to make something happen.
But on the other hand, some people might say that why shouldn't the committee be able to take these decisions? Because after all, they've been elected to represent the members and they can't be expected to consult on everything they do.
Well, absolutely not, and fair enough. They have stood for election, and very often no one has stood against them. But that's no reason why they shouldn't feel they have the authority to manage the day-to-day organisation of our association. But from what I've said, I think it's clear that the issues in front of us now are ones that go way beyond the remit of our current committee, and in fact beyond the remit of our current constitution. We all need to be engaged and involved in setting something up for the future, which is much more fit for purpose.
And it's also be said that the EGM2024 group represents just 6% of the membership. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't get it. I mean, you only have to have 3% of the membership signing a resolution to call an extraordinary general meeting. What we've got here is certainly at least a quarter of the entire membership signed a petition expressing concern about the committee's decision. Now, I'd have thought that would be an alarm bell. The committee should have recognised that they needed to do something to bring the sides together, and they absolutely haven't. They've just buckled down on their original position.
So, going on to the meeting on the 2nd of December, the committee has stated that if the vote doesn't go in their favour, that they will all resign. And so if that's the case, what's the point of the meeting?
If the resolution is passed, what that says is that the majority of members have supported it. That's really important. We've never had a situation like this before, where the whole membership has been asked to give its opinion. So if the majority of members are asking for the sorts of things we've been talking about in terms of how we reset the association, then that is something that we should all get around and make happen. And that's precisely the moment when the committee is most needed to come and implement the will of the membership. So to say that you're then going to leave the table and have nothing to do with it seems to me extremely disappointing. And I would hope that some of those members would re-evaluate their position when they recognise that they're being asked to do something by the full membership. Now, recognise that the position the committee has taken is a real one that many others support as well. And so the solution to this is not simply one side or the other winning. It's about trying to find a way of bringing everybody back together so that even if committee members won't come back to the table, we will have to find a way of working with people who have those views to make sure that they are stitched into the solution that we have for the future.
Well, so Charlie, so just to wrap up, if someone's listening wants to help in any way, what would you get them to do?
Come to the meeting on the 2nd of December. It's in Kensington, bizarrely. But if you can make it, that will be great. And if you can't, make sure that your vote counts, because we do now have proxy voting. That's not the same as postal voting. It means that you have to sign a form handing your vote over to somebody else, and that has to be sent to the secretary of the organisation. So do that if you can't be there on the night.
I think we're there, aren't we?
I think that covers the ground, Kathleen. Thanks for asking the questions. It's been really nice to talk to you. And thanks to all of you for listening.
Bye.